All right, today we're going to talk about how to write the equations of lines, section 2.4, and our essential question is what is the essential information in order to write the equation of a graph? So we've talked about slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Another form we're going to talk about today is point-slope form. We have the equation y minus y1 equals m, and then in parentheses x minus x1. M is the same as it was before, that's still the slope. And then this time we're going to have two x's and two y's, but they're going to represent different things. So the x1 and the y1 are going to be some point that falls on the line of our graph. The other x and the other y are the two variables that we're going to leave as part of the equation once we work through and reorder from point-slope form into slope-intercept form. So we're going to look first at slope-intercept form. We want to first figure out the y-intercept. So look at the graph that's given to us. Put a dot right where it crosses the y-axis. And for us, that's at the point 0, 2. So b equals 2. Zero always comes first when you're talking about the y-intercept. X always equals 0. And then the second step, we need to find the slope. So as this line is moving to the right, I can see that it is decreasing or going down. So I know it's going to be a negative slope. And I'm going to do it over here so I have a little bit more room. And then you want to find another point that lies nicely on the line. It looks like the point 2, -1 also falls pretty nicely. So first I want to go back to my y-intercept where I started. And I want to count how many spaces I moved up or down. So I moved 1, 2, 3 spaces down. And then I want to count how far over I have to move. I move 1, 2 spaces to the right. So I have a slope of -3/2. And now all I have to do to write the equation is substitute these values that I found for m and for b into y equals mx plus b. So instead of m, I'm going to write -3/2. I'm going to put an x behind the fraction. Do not put it directly next to the 2 because otherwise that'll look like -3/2x, and that's something different. And then plus 2. For the next example, we're going to do the exact same thing. Look at where this graph crosses the y-axis. I can see that it crosses at 0, 3. So my y-intercept is 3. I'm going to follow the line, and I can see as I move to the right, it's increasing. I'm going to follow the line until I fall on another nice point. And it doesn't matter where the next nice point is. I'm going to show you with this example. As long as it reduces to what the slope should be, it doesn't really matter how far apart your 2 points are. So for example, I chose -3 as one of my points, and then 3, 3 as the second point. So between these 2 points, I first want to count the vertical distance. I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. And then I have to move over 1, 2, 3 spaces. So the slope becomes 6/3. And this reduces to 2/1 or 2. So I could have chosen any nice point that falls on the line. It doesn't matter as long as it reduces to the correct slope. So our next step, we're going to take the values for m and for b and then substitute them in. Write the equation y equals 2x minus 3. if we're just given a point in the slope or just 2 points, we have a little bit of a different process, and that's where we'd use point slope form. So first, if we're given 2 points, we need to find the slope, and then we use either of the 2 points that we were given and substitute them in place of x1 and y1. So the slope, we're going to use that same formula that we learned before. Doesn't matter which one we call x1, y1, and x2, y2, but I always like to go with x1 is the one that came first. So I'm going to substitute -3 and then -1. I'm going to substitute 2 in place of x2 and 3 in place of x1. And then we're going to simplify. So -3 minus 1 is -4, -1, and we get a slope of 4. So now I'm going to substitute 4 in place of m, and you can pick either point, and for me, I like to just pick the point that I had originally called x1 and y1 because I think it's less confusing, and you're going to substitute these points or these values in place of y1 and x1. So we're going to do y minus 1 equals, we just solved that the slope is 4, and then in parentheses, x minus 3. And now we're going to solve for y. Distribute 4 to x and -3. Add 1 to both sides. And then y equals 4x minus 11. So sometimes you have to solve for the slope, but other times that slope is given to you. In this next example that we're looking at, we were given that the slope is -2, so we can just write m equals -2. And now this is the point that we're going to use for x1, y1. So again, that formula is y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. We are going to substitute. Y minus 5 equals -2, x minus 1. I'm going to distribute on the next line down here. Then we'll add 5 to both sides. And then y equals -2x plus 7. Okay, here's part 1. I will pause this video here and I will pick up with the next part about how do we write equations compared to other lines. So for now, go back, look and see if anything didn't make sense, and I will pick up with the rest of this lesson in the next video.